At least they're starting to talk about potentially fight. I know Teofimo, like I said, he went on Mike Tyson's show. He had them FaceTime you, or somebody FaceTimed Devin, and I know he's done a couple interviews. He's basically saying, listen, if the Kambosos fight doesn't happen, then the Devin Haney fight has to happen. He said, I don't like the kid, so it sounds like.
Devin, this is where you listen to what people say, what they don't say, and what they never will say. So you say the Devin Haney fight is going to happen. It's going to happen either before Kambosos or the next fight after.
That's what I heard him say.
You know what I mean? So, he has a problem lying and a problem with the English language. He's not communicating well, or either he's just lying like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? He's just lying, or he's not communicating well but pre-Lomachenko, before the Lomachenko fight, he communicated well. He spoke well. He spoke how he was, changing the sport, how he wants Lomachenko, how, he wants Nakatani first, Richard Comey second, and then Lomachenko. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a 3-fight plan. You mean to tell me you don't even have a 1-fight plan, or a 2-fight plan that is Kambosos and then Haney? So,
Well, I think that would be his argument, though, is that he's saying, listen, I have to fight Kambosos. That's my IBF mandatory. I don't want to lose this title, so I have to fight him. And then, well, he didn't, I will say this, he didn't come out and directly say Devin's going to be next. He said the likes of a Devin Haney is going to be, meaning it could be Devin, it could be Ryan, it could be Tank, it could be any of these
some
other
more
guys.
Confusing shit for the people, some more lying. You know what I'm saying? Just some more lying.
But he also, I do know he said if the Kambosos fight doesn't come off, then I can fight Devin. And that's the reason why I'm asking, because it's looking like, I don't know if it's
okay. So let me ask you this then. Mm-hmm. So if that's your mandatory, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you mean if it doesn't come off? What would be the reason if it doesn't come off?
Well, they didn't come to an agreement.
So technically, what you're saying is he can opt to not fight Kambosos if he wants. He doesn't have to, because he's saying if it doesn't happen, right? So who would that be on? It wouldn't be on Kambosos not wanting it.
True.
It would be on him not wanting it, right?
True.
So he doesn't have to fight it. And I want to know how many IBF champions go around saying that they got to fight their mandatory before they fight for another belt.
Well, I think it's going to be hard for you to find any IBF champion that just comes out and says, I got to do that. For the most part, it's usually about money. It's usually about money. Right. Like money talks, right? So that's the only reason why I brought it up, is because.
Well, is that the reason why he said he wanted $10 million to fight Devin?
He did say he wanted $10 million to fight, which I thought was, that's $10 million. That's a little ridiculous. But having said that, he's definitely not going to get $10 million to fight George Kambosos. That's the reason why.
Well, he's not going to get $10 million if we bid on it. I'm not going to say what we're going to do, but we've been talking about it now with Devin Haney Promotions going and bidding on the fight.
Wait, hold on. Hold on a second. Wait, repeat. Are you saying that Devin Haney now that their fight is going to purse bid, you guys are actually contemplating putting a bid in for it?
Yes.
No, you stop it. Are you serious, Bill?
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
So Devin Haney Promotions could be promoting Teofimo Lopez's title defense against George Kambosos.
Yes. Very real. It could be a possibility, because Bob ain't putting up no money on it. He already said he don't care.
He did say that. He called it. Bob himself said it's not a marquee fight. So it's not.
Right.
He said this is not a marquee fight, and I don't care if somebody else bids on it. So it doesn't sound like he's going to put up. He's definitely not going to put up 10, and it doesn't even sound like he's going to put up. What's the other number? Tio and them said 5 million or something like that. So I don't know how much he's going to put up, but it doesn't sound like Teofimo's going to be making the type of money he could be making if he were fighting Devin Haney instead of George Kambosos, right?
Right.
So maybe
he's on the wrong side of the street.
Possible. That's what they say about, or that's what the PBC guys say about Crawford.
Hey,
So,
Bob, man. Hey, Bob. Won't you pay the fighters, man? Come on, man. Come on, Bob. Stop playing, man. Pay the fighters. You got two of your biggest fighters over there, Terrence Crawford and Teofimo Lopez, complaining right now, man.
but does Bob have a point though? I mean, when he says that the Teofimo Lopez Kambosos fight is not it's not a big fight. It's not a big fight. I mean, maybe in Australia it is.
It's
but...
not a big. I mean, I didn't know who George Kambosos was prior to that. I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I never had watched his fights or none of that. You know what I mean? I seen his name, but I did not know who he was prior to that.
Right.
Prior to him talking about him. Did you?
I mean, I knew he was a sparring partner for Manny. I know he worked with Manny for a couple of his fights. I mean, I knew who he was. I knew that. I'm not gonna say I didn't know who he was, but I didn't know that he was, one of the top contenders in the lightweight division. That's probably the best way I could say it.
Right. Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah. Well, apparently Bob didn't either because he doesn't think it's a big fight himself. Right. But having said that, I mean, like I said, if that's not a big fight, then why not just say, you know what, I'm good. I've already got the belt, right? I mean, Teofimo immediately after winning the quote unquote undisputed championship.
Undisputed. Go ahead.
Why you gotta be undisputed?
Undisputed. Okay, I hear you.
All right,
so
shortly after winning it, he was already kind of talking about possibly moving to 140. So it does is the belt that important to keep? Is it that important to make this mandatory defense against George Kambosos if the money is not going to be, in the same ballpark that a bigger fight with Devin Haney might be? I mean,
see, we don't sit up and play with him about this business of Devin and Teo not being a big fight. I'm not going to play with Eddie about that. Eddie knows that it's a big fight. We know it's a big fight. We know it's a bigger fight than Jorge Linares. It's a bigger fight than Fortuna, a bigger fight than, so we look to make that fight happen because of the reason of it being a big fight. For the reason that Teo being a knockout artist, power in both hands, really skilled fighter, I always say that he's a great fighter. I say that Tank is a great fighter. I say that Ryan is a great fighter. I'm in my heart of hearts know that Devin is not just great. He's special. He's something different that comes around every so often. He has a different mentality, a different skill. He's been coached and trained by the best in the game. You know what I mean? His business is together. He's just altogether just different anomaly. Is that the right word? Am I using that right? Or,
yeah. I mean, that's a word you can use to describe him.
Yes. He's a whole different thing. And he's the youngest of them. So what you guys see in us, you guys see patience, right? Because he's 2 years ahead, and this other guy's 5 years ahead, this other guy's 1 year. So what you see is us in patience, right?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, but you can only be patient for so long. I mean, doesn't it get frustrating to hear these guys talk about fighting Devin, but not actually following through? I mean, especially with the Ryan Garcia situation. I mean, that's gotta, I mean, that would irritate me.
Yeah. But
I don't know what.
But yeah, I agree with you. But frustration and patience don't run on the same street. They don't run the same way. You know what I mean? When you're being patient, you're not frustrated. So, we're committed to being patient, with this thing. We know it's a uphill battle that we chose to fight, you know what I mean? And we got to enjoy each victory, each milestone, and getting to become at the top of the game and having the skill that these fighters, we don't look at them as opposing any kind of problems, it's a milestone. It's an accomplishment for our team and our family. a next accomplishment would be actually getting them in the ring and showcasing it to the world. You know, so with that saying, we take it in stride. You know, we count our blessings. You know what I mean, and we just continue to work.
Yo, I know. I think it was Tio Senior was doing an interview somewhere, and you popped in and kind of crashed the interview. And you
was
guys,
he in that old Cadillac that his son bought him?
I don't know. I can't. I'm not sure where he was. It did look like he was in a car, I think.
Yeah, I seen that. He was in the Cadillac. I saw that.
Right, but you guys did speak briefly about potentially making the fight. I think he even kind of threw out a number or something like that he would take to do that fight. I think.
Yeah, well, he said $4 million, and then when he went and talked to Eddie, he said $10 million.
Yeah, but he talked to Eddie first before he talked to you, so it seemed like the number came down.
He talked to me first.
No, he talked to you first? Oh, okay.
He talked to me first.
Oh, so he upped the price.
And then he upped the price.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, which to me, when you got a chance to talk to, when you get a chance to talk to Eddie and any other fighters, you know what I mean? Any fighters just listening, coaches and managers, when you get a chance to do your thing, you know what I mean? Me and Devin took advantage of it. We didn't come with any unrealistic numbers. We don't, you know what I mean, inflate or go, you know what I mean, in the stratosphere. We stay with what the market value calls for, and we do our best to create that value. With Tio and Devin and Ryan, instead of insulting each other, right? You build it up. You build each other up, and you build the fight up. Yeah. I think what Teofimo did different is, and I don't know who advised him on approach, he talked so bad about Devin and talked so bad about Devin not being qualified and not being right for the fight. He just put his foot in his mouth in the sense of, okay, well, who are you going to get that's better than Devin? Who are you going to get that has a better resume than Devin? If you don't go and get a Ryan, if you don't land a Ryan or you don't land a Tank, then where do you go from there? So he's screaming this mandatory shit, but he's saying if it doesn't work out, since when is a fight that's ordered doesn't work out? So if that fight is ordered, right, that you face your mandatory, then what do you mean it doesn't? Because now it goes to purse bid. So why wouldn't it work out?
Right.
And and if we bid $1 over everybody else, then you know what I mean, we get to fight.
Y'all gonna make sure it works out.
Yeah, we'll make sure it works out.
Wow, that's God, that I almost hope. I mean, you are serious. I know you're serious, but I almost, that would be wild to see Devin Haney Promotions promoting a potential opponent in his next fight.
Well,
that might be unprecedented. I don't think that's ever happened before.
That's why we approach this the way that we do, because we want to do the things that are unprecedented. We want to do the things that our elder statesmen weren't able to do, and they were in a position. You know what I mean? They had the skill set, they had everything going, but just couldn't do the business that they needed to do, right? And the great Mike McCallum, the body snatcher, who I insured him, you know what I mean, with my life, that I would do everything to protect Devin, and I would do everything to not let him to expose them ducking him the way that he would have liked Ray Leonard, Hearns, and everyone else to be exposed, Duran, to be exposed, that they didn't give him the fight that at the time that he was in his prime.
That's deep. Tio, I know he made a post about these big fights. These big fights need to happen. The promoters need to get out of the way, stop, trying to take some, like, he is really an advocate, or the tweet anyway was an advocate for making these big fights happen. Do you think that as a fighter, not just him, but other fighters,
the promoters don't have to get out the way. What you have to understand in business, and even under the Muhammad Ali Act, that no promoter can stop a fighter from seeking livelihood. If the fighter is not getting the fight that he wants, or the fight that he deserves, or the fight that's out there, the big money fight, the Muhammad Ali Act stops the promoters from blocking the fight.
Right.
So what these fighters are doing, they're throwing us back into the horse and buggy days of the shit. When you say that you don't have a voice, right? When you say that you can't make these things happen, right? How can you get to be a world champion and you're not studying what a world champion can do? How do you know, how can you say all these things? You don't even know what power being a fighter, what position you're in. No promoter can hold you back or stop you from making a big fight happen.
Well,
right?
that's what I was getting at. I was going to say, do you think that as a fighter, they also have to take responsibility and say, you know what, I don't want to do, instead of doing this Kambosos fight, I would rather fight Devin Haney. And yeah, I might lose this belt, but I don't care. It's just a belt, you know. It's just one of what, 4 belts that he has. And yeah, he might lose it, but what you gain is so much more. You gain not just the money, but you gain a better name on the resume. You know, you're talking about your legacy. You know, people, I think more people would remember Teofimo versus Devin Haney than they're going to remember Teofimo versus George Kambosos. So at some point,
absolutely,
it would seem like the onus is almost on the fighter itself, instead of saying, well, I've got to do this mandatory. So, you know, sorry, Devin, we can't do this fight right now. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, so the thing is that just like Bob said, all right, and you got to listen. What he told everyone, he says, if someone else comes in and promotes the fight, he gets a percentage. He said he's going to get a piece. So it doesn't make a difference if you wait to go to purse bid or you talk to the promoter that's going to come in and pay for the fight anyway. If you can get the fight over what they're giving, if you can get the fight over here, right? Yeah. And they're trying to give this, then you get the fight here, and then you pay your promoter. You pay your promoter a percentage, 10%, 15%.
Because at the end of the day, the promoter works for the fighter.
Right.
Right.
So just like this fight can potentially be promoted by another promoter. It's the same way that, you know what I mean? If it hadn't went to purse bid, if he sits down and he talks to his promoter and look at him eye level as a man and talk to him about what his needs are and what he can do for the promoter as well, because it's a two-way street. You know, what the fighter will share with the promoter in terms of this new deal or this new situation, right? But these fighters and promoters have been around. I mean, the promoters and the companies have been around for so long that these fighters, if they don't take interest in their career and just leave it to the promoters, then they're not doing their due diligence. Like I said, they're throwing us back to the horse and buggy days.
Or maybe they
Devin
are.
Can do it. If Devin at 22 can do it, and we can, and his dad can be on here, and we can talk shit and we can do it, then the other fighters that's coming behind us, they'll experience the benefit. You'll start seeing more Devin Haney's than seeing more Teofimo Lopez's, for sure.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Or maybe they are, like, maybe they're just content. Maybe they're okay with what's going on right now. You know, maybe they're complicit in the what'd you call it, ducking.
They're wrong, they're false, you know what I mean, and they have no basis when they're saying those claims that the promoter, that's not true. The promoter doesn't have the control. You're just giving the promoter the control for this particular scenario, because the promoter didn't have the control when you were chasing Lomachenko down. The promoter couldn't control you, right? But now you can be controlled.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I mean, he said he was showing up at hotels. He was showing up. He was doing all kind of stuff
with Lomachenko. Yeah, that's right.
With Lomachenko.
That's right.
But none of that shit with us.
Well, you guys got a FaceTime from him, so.
Yeah, but in the FaceTime, he doesn't say, "Come on, let's fight. Let's make this shit happen now." Not next, like now. See, next, you don't know when next is going to be.
True.
I don't want to say next. I'm saying now.
Mm,
Let's fight now.
mm, mm. Well, if you don't fight now, at least you could promote him now. So,
Right, 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 right,
so
right.
we'll look forward to a potential bid. Is there any message you want to send to Tio before you guys potentially put in a bid for his next fight?
Just be looking for that bid. Look for that bid, T.O.
I'm sure he's hoping
Yeah,
it's a high
yeah,
one. That's what's up. That's
yeah.
what's up.
No,
Well,
no, but all seriousness, like I say, I don't get on here to demean or to down any fighters. You know what I'm saying?
right.
I really believe that these guys are extremely talented. They have a great skill set, but I think they lack the confidence to deal with Devin. They're undersized. You know what I mean? Not as athletic.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Devin has more foot speed. He has more ring IQ. He has a better jab, right? To set up the right hand. They don't have any. They don't have a jab, or they don't have any of that. So it's pretty much just they're what Floyd used to always call them, like straight up and down.
mhm. No
Um,
special effects.
yeah, no special effects, just straight up and down. They're just nothing special. You
Mm,
see what I'm saying?
mhm,
And coming out of that gym, that Mayweather gym, and 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 being as close as we are to the Mayweather family, we got a chance to see some exceptional shit. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? We
mm,
really did. And nothing about what we're seeing at 135 or 140 is you know what I mean, is giving us any indication that, we need to do anything other than fight.
yeah.
Of course, we're not ready for 47. You know what I mean? There's some hell of a fighters at 47. It's a hell of a fighter at 47 in Mikey Garcia, but he's a smaller 47.
Mhm,
So we kind of look at him as a future, as a future fight, 40 pounder.
mhm,
But other than that, yeah, the 47 guys are too big right now for Dev. But other than Mikey Garcia, maybe as a
mhm,
big one of the big fighters. But 140 pounds, I think we'll make that move fairly easy. That
mm.
transition from 35 to 40 fairly easy.